Hello, this is a quick public service video to say if you were offered a Livescribe Echo pen as part of your DSA hardware package, please don't just sell it on, give it a go. If you have dyslexia, dyspraxia, or are on the autistic spectrum, I think that you will find this pen very useful. However, I also acknowledge that it's not the most obvious device to use and takes a bit of practice, but I want to show you ways to use it, and that there are items available for it that you may not know exist. You may not have been supplied with your DSA package, or that if you're just having your DSA package arranged, you may actually be able to negotiate. Okay, first of all, how I use my pen. Okay, first of all, this is an official Livescribe carry case. I find this really useful. It's a really nice hard case, a bit like a mobile phone hard case, I suppose. And this goes straight into my university bag, my shoulder bag, with a pad of paper for it, and everything inside it is very safe. Not cheap, but it's an official Livescribe accessory, and it fits everything really well. Let me show you. Okay. I have put my name in here because it's very expensive, and I actually bought this pen myself, not through DSA. However, I have heard since I bought this that it is being approved under DSA funding on an individual basis. So what do I have in here? I have my pen. I have the USB connection cable. I'll go into that in a minute. I have some ink and a stylus. That was for some sound pads, but really you do everything with an ink cartridge. That is the size of an ink cartridge. It's probably the half a size of a biro ink, but it's a special gel ink, and it's recognised by the pen. Not as expensive as you might think, but I'll go into that in a minute. And I have my 3D recording headphones in this little pocket here. Now, when you first get these, you might think, gosh, they're really flimsy £5 headphones. I don't like these. I'll get my own. Understandable, because they're horrible. They're fitting into the ears. I know. They have got right and left because they are stereo. I'll explain that in a minute. But they're not very comfortable. They are like cheap headphones. I know that. Accepted. But when you put them over your shoulder like this, the right way round, right and left, you look like a hipster. Yes, correct. But these are actually picking up omnidirectional sound from the direction that they're facing. So if you are picking up a lecture from the front of a large lecture hall, they are recording in stereo, but a beam from the front. Okay, you connect this to the pen while you are using your pen as normal, and instead of using its internal little microphone, which I know is because you're writing, people complain about that, this is actually recording much more professionally in binaural, as it's called, in stereo, from a beam facing the front of the room. Really good for lecture halls, and people don't realise this is a feature of these headphones. Yeah, they're not great as headphones, but the 3D recording part is actually the fact they have microphones in each headphone, and it's recording in stereo. Huge upgrade for the pen. If you haven't been offered those with your pen, I would seriously consider it if you're going to be in large lecture rooms, because you would be amazed how they help. And the pen automatically changes its recording mode when it notices that you've got the headphones installed. So there's that. Here's my pen. So this is the Livescribe pen. Now, people that don't have problems with writing often say, gosh, that's big. I could never get used to that. However, let me show you my normal writing pen. I use this because I really need the grip, because I write at a very difficult angle like this, and I need the grip anyway. So this is actually a benefit to me, not a negative. This is my normal pen. So this is actually a benefit. If you haven't ever opened your pen, you have a cap on the end of it. You don't have to write with it like this. It's not some sort of virtual pen. No, no, no. This is a cap on the end of it. The ink is in here. The ink is replaceable. Very important thing to note is that it comes with a blue ink cartridge. Puts people off because universities don't like blue writing, placements don't like blue writing. That's fine. You can buy black ink very cheaply. I will go into that in a minute. And you can replace the cartridges ever so easily. They literally pull out and push in. There's a little receiver at the top of it. Holds it in place. It's fine. If you have a problem and you're short of pens, you can just use it as a pen. You can leave it switched off. This is real ink. It's not anything pretend. It's real ink. I believe it has special properties. It's a bit foolish to use it as a normal pen because this ink is more expensive than, say, biro ink in this pen, but it's not impossible to just use this as a pen. Second mode is simply switched on. I've got the screen on the lowest setting because the older models, this isn't an old model, but the older models had a problem with the screens going blank and fading after time. So one way to make sure this doesn't happen for a long time is to keep it on 10%. This is only on 10%, but it can be raised up 10 times this bright if you really want it to be. You have problems seeing the screen. So at the moment it shows the time, which is quite useful. At least you know where you are at the time. Okay. Else to tell you? Oh yes. Then you can turn it on to recording only mode. You can press and hold this in. It will make a noise. Now it is recording my audio without me needing to be near a piece of paper. Nice to have if you're desperately trying to record something and you just need the audio evidence. That noise was it turning off the recording. You may notice that it only takes about 5 seconds to start up as well. This is a huge advantage for me. Doesn't rely on pairing with a mobile phone. Doesn't rely on a wireless signal. Self-contained. Off. Pressing button. And we're there. When it's showing the time, we're ready. So it can record my strokes at the moment, as long as I'm using Livescribe paper. I'll go into that in a minute. Then it can record what I'm writing. It's not recording sound at this point, okay? But you can turn on the sound recording on the paper. I love this pen. So what's happening is that it's got internal memory, 2 gigabytes, and everything you write and record is being stored on the internal memory. So you don't need to be near a phone, you don't need to have a good wireless signal or phone signal. It's being stored right here in its own internal storage, and you just connect the USB cable to your computer when you are free to get home, probably in the evening. In fact, you don't have to do it the same evening. The battery lasts at least a couple of days worth of use. So as long as you can get to a computer at some point with the Echo software on it, then you should be fine. So that's how I carry my pen. The case was an investment. I don't think the case is often provided by DSA, but it might be worth asking for it. So you're asking for a Livescribe hard case. It's an official product. So with these headphones, I'm sure you could use your own headphones to listen, but it's only these headphones that are going to have the recording capability. So it's worth requesting a pair of the 3D headphones as well. Just putting everything back together because I really do use this at uni, so I'm wanting to use everything and keep it in the right places. There we go. So that's how I personally make use of my Livescribe pen. So the paper. Okay, when you get your pen, I know that you get this. This is the starter notebook. Now, it has some useful functions on it that are hard to obtain elsewhere. Not impossible, but it normally means you have to print off the you normally have to print something off from the software in order to change these settings. Okay, you can print your own paper. It's just not quite the same as using their proper stationery. So you have the calculator and you have a few settings, things like changing the brightness of the pen, changing to left or right handing operation. Yes, it does know if you're using it left or right handed, you need to tell it, but it can adapt how it detects your writing. The date, the time changing, seeing how much storage you've got left, changing to high or low audio settings. Obviously it depends on how much data you intend to be using on the pen, it takes up less space, etc. But what I want to say to you is that the paper in this book is horrible. This is not their normal standard of paper, okay? It's like tissue paper. I know it's like tissue paper. Please do not feel that this is the standard of paper that you get when you purchase a Livescribe piece of stationery. It's not. It's a starter notebook. It's almost like you're playing about, seeing how it works book. Throw it in. No, don't throw it in the bin. No, don't do that, but don't take it to lectures with you. You will be disappointed. It will go through the paper. Not the one you want, okay? Right. I understand that most DSA suppliers are now supplying the 4-pack of A4 books with this. These aren't bad. I think these are very universally acceptable for lecture notes, and you have a big space. Livescribe software can detect your drawings and it won't try and modify the drawings. It's fine for you to do drawings. Even if it does conversion, it leaves the drawings where they are. So that's fine. You've got lots and lots of space to work with. Okay, and this paper is much better. This paper is much more the quality you want. It's quite a bright write. Very decent A4. The controls are very out of the way. They're discreet, but they're there. You can start and stop it recording just here, just on the corner of the paper. You literally put the pen tip, bing, on there. It makes its little sound, as long as you haven't turned the sound off, bing, and it starts recording. If there's anything sensitive that's going to be talking about an individual, bing, you just turn it off. Simple as that. You want to play something back? Very easy. Let's hope that I have found something with audio. I'll get my pen out. Turn it on. Don't have to do any more but turn it on with the single power button. And then I'm going to click on, not the record button or the play button, but exactly where I want it to talk from. There's no voice there. Sometimes it's not appropriate for me to actually use the voice function, so I do actually turn it off. Let's see. Bad example. Bad example. Okay. Possibly because I've not been using that most recently. I was going to go on to this in a minute, but this is what I use for placements. This is kind of the piece de resistance of Livescribe stationery. This is the Moleskine Livescribe notebook. It's lovely. It's not cheap, but it's very acceptable. It's essentially a meeting notebook, high quality bound cover. If you're in a professional setting, very much accepted by the people you're working with. So you can hear we have audio now. Now I can actually turn it up and down because I have the card that controls those functions. You get the idea. Now, I was in a fairly large meeting room at that point, so it might have been more appropriate for me to use the headphones, but I chose just to use the pad at that time and the built-in microphone. That's what that sounds like. If you're doing a one-to-one conversation, it's really, really good. So that's how that works. The paper, sorry, I'm going to show you the paper in this. The paper's lovely. It's slightly more moleskin in colour, slightly brown, which is nice for me because I have problems with bright white paper. So this is that sort of cream coloured moleskin paper. Have the controls just like the A4 pads, and of course the pen and the software know that you're using a different type of stationery. They recognise if you're using the moleskin paper or the A4 pads, etc. They can actually tell what you're writing on, and the audio stays with them. Okay, one last piece that I wanted to show you for paper is the little notepad. I haven't really tried these yet. This is a first attempt, but I'm looking to take these into university to try. They are a lot cheaper than the A4 pads. They are only A5, but they're very straightforward. They're flip top. You can tear the pages off. They're not sort of there for life. They're much more like a reporter's notebook, and there's no spiral bound to kind of get your hand fouled up on. So I'm giving these a go at the moment. These are £14 for 6 of these, as opposed to £25 for 4 of the A4 pads. So I'm giving them a go. I will give you a verdict in time. The front cover's not much to look at, but the idea is you rip that off. The paper inside seems to be, yeah, better quality than the starter notebook for sure. I'm going to give this a go. I'll feedback on this. Okay, things not to bother with. They're gimmick stuff. Things not to bother with. Okay, right. I have this one and I have this one. Do not waste your money on these. Do not waste your money on the post-it notes. Sounds like a nice idea. However, they're basically white notes with borders around the edge. They're not what you would expect, and they just don't really attract attention like a proper post-it note. You can't write very much on there. You can always record the audio, but this is one of those scenarios where you think, is someone really going to be walking around casually with a Livescribe pen, you know, so that they can click on post-it notes as they walk around the office? It's unlikely. The use case is not really there for these. Nice idea, but just doesn't actually work the way that the pen works, unfortunately. The other thing that's a bit of a waste of money are the sound stickers, because these again rely on you having your pen with you all the time. There is nowhere to write on them. They are literally stickers. You are supposed to annotate, apparently, non-Livescribe stuff with them and click your pen on them for the mysterious audio message. Again, you have to buy a huge pack of them, about, I think it's 1,000. There we are. I have to buy a pack of 1,000. That's all you get, and I don't understand the use case for them. So I highly recommend against the sound stickers and the sticky notes, unfortunately. Talking as somebody who bought them thinking, yes, I really want to enjoy my Livescribe pen. That's great. These are not a real way to enjoy your Livescribe pen. Okay. So, what do I take with me? Well, I always take one pack of spare ink cartridges. Now, I need to explain this to you because they come in these massive boxes, and you think, goodness me, I can't take this around with me just in case I need to change the ink cartridge. That's ridiculous. Yeah, understood. However, what's inside this big box is this tiny packet. and it doesn't come with that writing on it, you could easily lose it or forget what's in there. So I write what's in there. So that's got 4 black and 1 red refill in there. I've been very fortunate lately. I've been able to get a job lot at £8 a pack of these, and that's about as good a price as they ever used to cost. So, you know, it's all right. You're looking at about, I want to say £8, £2 a cartridge, and they last over a month, over 2 months each, really. So it's not bad. Say 2 months a cartridge, so you're probably looking at 2 packs of these a year, £16. It's not too bad. That would be my guess. And because the notepads don't have a little pocket for your little Livescribe card, which by the way the A4 pad and the moleskin pad do have, it's not a big thing, but it helps. So they have a little pocket for your little card, and I've got some clear pouches in there. Same thing with the moleskin. It's at the back of the notebook. You've got a nice little fold out, very moleskin in style, little fold out pocket here, and that's where the card is stored in that one. You don't have anything in these, but you do get given a card. They're a bit stingy with these, by the way, Livescribe. You do need to be aware that in a pack of something you only ever seem to get 1 card. So if you have a pack of the 4 A4 folders, or you get the 6 notebooks, you only get the card in the front of the first one, so you need to keep the card. This is the card that I was given with the little notebooks that I'm trying at the moment. They're almost always exactly the same thing. The moleskin one is a bit more complete, but they're almost always the same thing. So this came with the 6 of these, but I have to keep this one for all 6 notebooks. That's one thing to keep in mind, but at least you do get one because they wanted you to pay at one point. Okay, so that's that. Drop some ink there. I better look for that in a minute. Yeah, okay, dealt with. Right, so let me show you what you actually get in the box now. Things have changed a little bit from when the Echo was first sold, but something you need to know is that the older style packaging Echo had a big problem with the screen, as I think I've said before. I've had the misfortune of having an Echo shipped to me as brand new and the screen actually being completely blank. The only way I knew it worked was because I pressed and held this so that the recording sound actually came on. That's the only way I knew that this worked. Look at this shirt, I've done it again. Okay, so you're looking for this style of box. This is the 2016 and onward style of box. I would say this is your best guarantee of knowing that you have a recently manufactured Livescribe Echo pen. They'd actually changed the screens that they use at some point, and it's guaranteed pretty much that if you buy this newer box type, you have the newer screen technology. So it's worth making sure that you have one of these. If DSA send you one that's in the older, very colourful, yes, very colourful sort of green or yellow, etc. box with sort of the pen visible in one corner, that's the older style packaging. I would probably send it back immediately and say you're very concerned that the screen won't work and you'd like one with the 2016 packaging just for reassurance, especially if it's supposed to be brand new. So this is what the new style packaging looks like. Okay, you don't get much with this, so be warned. If you're only getting the pen at the moment, you get the pen, the starter notebook I showed you that isn't worth an awful lot apart from having a play on, the USB cable, a very quick manual, 2 ink cartridges that are probably blue, so be warned, you might want to specify or buy your own black ones, and 1 smart pen cap. So that's a little piece of plastic on the end. It goes on the end there that you take off when you're actually writing. Okay, so you don't get a lot with it, so you'll be looking to get some accessories with it. Hopefully some cartridges, hopefully a pack of the A4 pads. You won't get the moleskin notebooks because they're quite a bit more expensive, but I do buy them from Amazon when there's a bit of a discount. A4 notebooks, you'll get a pack of 4 of these, different colours, and the pen knows which one you're using. So if you're very organised and you want to use 4 different subjects, you can use 4 books, taking the right one for the right day, and hey presto. I'm sort of looking to use 1 a year. That's how it's working out. So I might just use 1 a year, or just go from one to the next, something like that. I don't know yet. So you'll be looking to get, along with the cartridges, the 3D recording headphones, as I said. So these are the official Livescribe ones, as you see. As I say, not much to listen to, but very good for recording. And to be honest with you, when I'm on placement, this is great because I'm not disturbing anybody else, but I'm still listening back to the notes that I took in a meeting when I'm writing it up. Very useful. And then this is what you might need to buy yourself. This is the official Livescribe case, deluxe carrying case. They don't do a non-deluxe version. Don't be confused by this. Unfortunately, they go for £30. It's not cheap, but I actually see this as an insurance package. Basically, this is your safety. This is protection for your pen. It's like buying a case for your pen. You know, it's hard to get insurance with this, or sometimes it costs as much as the pen does. So invest £30 of your money, buy a deluxe carrying case, keep this very, very clever piece of kit very safe. Okay, I think that's all I've got for you, really. The software is very good. It's a lot more straightforward than the software that you might see Livescribe showing you. They tried to sort of implement all sort of bells and whistles, tried to give it an app store and that kind of thing. That's all gone now. There's been a change in the software, and it's very much Office-like now. It's all about transferring the documents, transferring the audio, making them work together. You can export the document and the audio to a PDF document for other people to see, and you can use an extra piece of software. Bit of a long story. You can't buy it direct now, but you can buy it by a third party, the Smart Pen Spares store, and that actually works a bit like scanner software. It converts your handwriting into text, and you can export it to Word, so you can basically back up your notes without having to retype anything. Really good. That software is, I believe, £25, and the license is only for 1 computer, so you need to kind of treat it like your DSA software for that license. That is fixed to the computer that you license it for. Whereas the general sort of uploading software for the pen can actually be installed anywhere for free. So if you are able to get access from your university or workplace to install that software, that's something you can do without any cost penalty to you. Might be worthwhile. Anyway, I hope that's been helpful. I'm afraid I can't really do screenshots of the software, but I hope that taking you through the pen, how it's applied now, what's with it, and why I think you should give it a go has been helpful. I have found it really invaluable. The reason why is because I'm not having to worry about missing something when I'm actually taking notes. I'm not missing what's being said. Their slogan is never miss a word, and that's exactly what this is about for me. This is, I know that I zone out of what's being said while I write, but I'm not missing what's being said because this is capturing it for me all of the time. So between the two, I've got my notes, I can write up my notes, I can recall everything. Very, very useful piece of equipment. Please, as I said at the start of this video, don't just eBay it right away. A lot of people do that. I think it's a real shame. This could be very valuable to your life. It works with PC and Mac. As a reminder, you don't need to have a wireless signal. You don't need to have your smartphone with enough battery, with enough 3G coverage for this to work. This is self-contained. That's why I think that the Livescribe Echo, the older version, ironically, not the 3, which involves your mobile phone, but I think the Echo is an amazing piece of DSA equipment. Please do give it a go. I hope that's been helpful. Bye for now.